if the IAF chief is saying, which means that there is a serious problem with our capabilities, because it is none less than the IAF, and there is nobody higher than him. Sir.
Technology delayed is technology denied. Like absolutely, justice sir. Delayed is justice. Similar with this thing.
40 years for a fourth generation, sir. 50 years for a fifth generation, sir.
भारत ने रॉकेट बना लिया है, but हवाई जहाज नहीं बना.
So my question is, first of all, why does HAL get into manufacturing? Why does any government organization get into manufacturing?
The Germans are producing 30,000 aircrafts per year. See, necessity is mother of invention. हर आदमी पूरे इकोसिस्टम में ओनरशिप लेनी चाहिए. That this is my project, this is my country, this will affect our readiness of our country. My part in this whole story is not.
Rafale is either 4 or 4.5.
4.5, yeah.
4.5, sir.
Yes.
Fifth generation कौन सा लेना चाहिए?
See, अभी Aero India है,
sir.
तो ये सब लोग आएंगे.
Hello friends, I'm Gaurav Arya. Welcome to GAP, the Gaurav Arya Podcast. A lot has been said about the lack of fighter jets in the Indian Air Force. A lot has been said about how the Tejas program could not take off. You know, where was the HAL lacking? The Hindustan Aeronautics Limited, that organization, where was it lacking? What happened? Today we have Air Marshal Sanjeev Kapoor with us, and he's going to tell us the future of the Indian Air Force in terms of the squadron strength, and he will tell us the comments made by the Air Chief Marshal at the Subroto Mukherjee Memorial Lecture. Sir, Jai Hind and a very warm welcome, sir.
Thank you, Gaurav.
Sir, Air Chief Marshal made this comment, sir. Subroto Mukherjee Memorial Lecture, and he said that the 40 years, you don't even have 40 Tejas. What is the story behind this, sir? Why is the Tejas program lacking? Why?
See, the journey goes back to 1984, when it was conceived that we will make a aircraft of our own, the fighter aircraft. So LCA was conceived in 1984, and during that period, around 87 or so, when I was in Gwalior, a lot of people from Mirages used to go to HAL, Bangalore, to discuss layout of the instruments and such. At that time, if my memory serves me right, Rajiv Gandhi, he, along with Mr. Subramaniam and others, approached USA to help them to make this aeroplane work in India. But they created a vertical called ADA, Aeronautical Design, in Bangalore, co-located with this thing, and they were given the job of designing this aeroplane. But after designing, before production, this part was not thought of. So HAL was to produce this aeroplane.
Sure.
ADA was to design this aeroplane. But there was no harmonization, in my opinion, between these two organizations. So the complete 80s and early 90s went off on the drawing board itself. Then the issue came of engine. So they said that we will manufacture our own engine. And engine is a very niche capability. Only 4 to 5 countries in the world today makes aircraft engines. And to put it for your viewers and other things, it is at par with nuclear technology. The designing and manufacturing of aircraft engine is as complicated as nuclear. So no country is willing to share this design and development with you. They may do transfer of technology, some part, but the key things, because if you, anybody who's known aviation, everything on the platform works through the engine. The supply for everything, your air conditioning, pressurization, electricals, everything, it comes from the engine. Sure. So those tappings are taken, and that is the heart of the machine. So you may have wonderful avionics, you may have wonderful airframe, you may have wonderful weapons, but actually it is the engine which will. So this GTRE, it was an Indian gas turbine DRDO organization. They started designing Kaveri engine. So the Kaveri engine went to great extent, but could not succeed in the end because it was not working properly in the reheat regime. So somewhere around 90s or so, it was realized that this engine may not, but they said we will work. So a decision was taken that we will import the engine because we cannot delay the project. So finally in 2001 or so, the first aircraft did test flying, and that what Chief mentioned 17 years later.
Sure.
And at that stage, it was realized that the most compatible engine at that stage was G404. And we ordered those engines. And the order was placed around 2009-10 to HAL to produce and give Indian Air Force 2 squadrons to begin with, that is 40 aircrafts. And the aircrafts, the first aircraft in 2016, when the test flying was done. Again, Chief had mentioned the statement that from 2001, it took 15 years for them to produce an aeroplane. So now here, these things come because the ecosystem in our country was not non-existent to produce aircraft parts. Today, there are a lot of companies in India which are manufacturing parts for Airbus, Boeing, some components, seats, doors, some avionics. But at that stage, in 90s and 2000s, there was non-existent kind of a setup. And this took some time to come up. Industries came up. All these industries related to aircraft are very heavy in investment. So a person, a civil, a corporate, or anybody who wishes to invest in this is looking for returns and an assurance that once I make these things, there should be a guarantee that these parts would be taken from me. But the trials for aviation are very stringent because it has to pass through various checks in this. It's a machine, after all, which has to go through extremes, temperatures, performance, everything. So a lot of components of these MSMSs start to fail because they were not of international standards. So this delay plus compounding our work culture brought us to a stage wherein what he mentioned in 2024, we don't even have 40 aircrafts. So these 2 squadrons were raised, LCAs, and one of them has now been put in an operational command. The others we are waiting. But the sad part is that the assembly lines, I've read somewhere that the Chinese today are in a position to produce about 100 aircrafts per year.
Sure.
And HAL had set a target of 18 aircrafts per year, but on average has produced only 3 to 4 aircrafts per year. So see the gap, see the difference. On one hand, our squadron strengths are depleting. We've come down to 30 squadrons from 42. And on the other hand, the mainstream, which was supposed to replace all our aging fleet, LCA. So order was placed, I think, for 37,000 crore rupees in 2021 to HAL to produce 83 more LCAs, for which the engines have not come till now. So I don't think so in this year any aircraft has been produced out as yet because there is a delay in getting some key components from abroad. So this is in short what Chief had.
So but tell me, so then what is the future of the LCA? Either you shut it down because in today's time, see, China is saying that we have a 6th generation fighter aircraft.
Yes.
We can't even produce a 4th generation. Right, sir. And whatever we are producing, that is essentially Russian technology. While India has one of the finest space programs in the world, it has a great nuclear program. It has made strides in technology, and we have technological talent to beat the best in the world. There is no doubt about that. I think there is lack of focus also, sir, in the sense that if we have not been able to make the LCA in 40 years to a certain level of the satisfaction, because, sir, in the end, the Indian Air Force must be satisfied, sir.
Correct.
Because the Indian Air Force is the end customer, sir, and the end user, sir.
Correct.
They have to be happy, sir. If the IAF chief is saying, which means that there is a serious problem with our capabilities, because it is none less than the IAF, and there is nobody higher than him, sir.
Correct.
So if the chief is saying it...
See, I recall in 2008 or 9, we had gone to ADA, and that time Embraer, a company, the Brazilian company,
yes, sir,
was manufacturing our airborne early warning and control aircraft on Embraer platform.
The AVAX, sir?
The AEWC aircraft.
Okay, sir.
So they wanted to understand how aerial refueling is carried out. This was about 2009. They came and understood how the aircraft refuels in the air through a mid-air refueler. And in about 3 years' time, they had developed a prototype. And the aircraft which Indian Air Force hereafter got from Embraer had the refueling probe put in. So, in HAL's case, there is only one customer, Air Force, because and there is one company which there's no competition. There is no private player. There is no, sword hanging that in case I do not meet these timelines, this is going to happen. Because they can cite any reasons for delay and that is waived off. So what happens is that the aging fleet is going out, the replenishment is not coming. And now it is not leapfrog. In my opinion, you'll have to do a pole vault kind of a thing.
Yes, sir.
We'll have to.
Leapfrogging is not sufficient now.
Not sufficient now. Because the gap, and in 2015-16, we were at par with our neighbors as far as the development of these things. But in last 8 to 10 years, the pace at which our northern neighbor has moved is phenomenal. It's phenomenal. And I was reading about J-36, which you just mentioned, the 6th generation aircraft. This aircraft is a marvel. You would have seen the pictures. It doesn't have a tail. It doesn't have any visible control surfaces. But the best part, which very few people know, it is 23 meters long and 19 meters wide. That is the span of the wings. And it has a double delta with the wingspan area of 200 square meters. To put it simply, F-22 is only 78 meters square and F-35 is only 48 meters square. This aircraft with no tail, with no moving control surface, with 3 engines, has a surface area of 200 square meters. So they have worked silently to produce, and their aircrafts now are in Tibet. So they are pushing, and their partner, of course, our Western partner, is happy to see the progress which the Chinese are making.
So 2 things, sir. First of all, can we believe the Chinese? Because Chinese don't allow anybody to see their aircraft.
Yes.
सब ढकी छुपी बात है.
वो तो है. But जैसे लोग गए थे इनके एयर शो में, जो हुआई में एयर शो होता है उनका, वो भी भारत की तरह it happens once in 2 years.
Sure.
So like we are having now next month, Aero India, and theirs just finished in Hawaii in November.
Sure.
So they also hold it once in 2 years. People who have visited these things said that 2 or 3 air shows back, they had just kept the aeroplane for people to have a look from a distance. Then the air show after that, they allowed people to go and it flew. See, there is something called as mean time between failures. MTBF is what we call. Their aircrafts have, very high mean time. Means they'll maybe failing faster than an American platform. But they are manufacturing these things in their own country. So, like LCA had lots and lots of teething issues.
Sure.
But the good part was that it was being manufactured in our country. So, the failures did occur, but the initial testing and the stabilization phase, the local industry was available to attend to these things when the aircrafts were rolling out.
So, what are the solutions? So we have discussed the problems because nobody is, so I have not seen anybody at any level saying that, okay, this is exactly what we should do because, all right, we have the AMCA, sir. So if Tejas has not performed, and these are the words of the Air Chief, nobody less than the Air Chief has said that 40 years, not even 40 aircraft. What is the hope that you have from AMCA? That is my first question, sir. And second question, because 40 years for a 4th generation, sir. 50 years for a 5th generation, sir. So what's happening?
See, again, you're right in what you're asking.
Sir.
The budget allocated for AMCA in the previous is about 15,000 crores. Which is
peanuts, sir.
Which is peanuts because the HL itself is saying is 1/3 of what we need. So there are about $5 billion is what they're looking at to begin with. And the timeline given is that the prototype will fly around 2030 and produced by 2035. So by that stage, and like Chief said, technology delayed is technology denied. Like justice delayed is justice. Similar with this thing. Because in this time, what you are planning today is already obsolete. So what I just said, we'll have to do pole vault. So in pole vault, you will have to take assistance in this case of the bamboo with which you move around or the rod with which you, pole with which you go.
Sir.
This will have to I think so. One of the solutions which I feel, we'll have to pick up something off the shelf which is already proven and fill up initially the numbers. Then we will have to take on board the private sector, the academia. The thing lacking in our country is, one of the reasons is the education system. In school, colleges, universities, IITs, we do not pay enough attention to research. And research is a very important component in the Western education. A large sum of money by big corporates, MNCs, is earmarked for research, which I feel our DRDOs, our private companies, the big players, the Tatas and the others who are in defense, Adani and Bharat Forge, all these companies, Mahindra, L&T, Mahindra, they should start investing in IIT students, pick up bright people from campus and integrate them with the defense people, either serving or just retired, to understand what is the requirement. And then with the help of government, with the help of PSUs, set up a parallel. Now what happens with the parallel private production? There is a competition. There is a benchmarking of price. There is no monopoly. And the user has various options. I remember when F-16s were being made in America, program was called YF-16 and YF-17.
Sir.
Both were given to different companies in America. They knew they wanted only one type of aircraft. But parallelly, two companies were given this contract. And there was a competition to produce. So, finally, the end product came. But the other company which had put research was not told, sorry. They were given, that you will produce A, B, C, D, E, F parts for this. So similar kind of a thing could be taken of these 5-7 names which I took, or some more if they wish to join, could be given hand-holding initially by the government. The industry requires a lot of investment, which they are very scared to put. But like in Western parlance, like the Americans spend about 950 billion on research each year, of which about 650 to 700 billion comes from private sector. Now, India will take a long time to reach that level, but initially, obviously, the government will have to do hand-holding.
So my question is, first of all, why does HAL get into manufacturing? Why does any government organization get into manufacturing?
See, उस टाइम पे तो ब्रेड भी सरकार बनाती थी, होटल भी सरकार बनाती थी, टेलीफोन का इंस्ट्रूमेंट भी
नहीं, बट आज की तारीख में 2025 में
2025 में अब वो चला आ रहा है. द थिंग्स आर गोइंग ऑन. लेगेसी है बेसिकली. अब वो आपको याद होगा, सेंटोर होटल होता था, वो सरकारी होटल होता था. अशोका होटल सरकारी, सम्राट होटल सरकारी होता था. तो हर चीज उस टाइम पे सरकारी थी. वो लाइसेंस का वो था. 15 साल में टेलीफोन लगता था घर में, 7 साल में LPG सिलेंडर मिलता था. वी हैव कम अ लॉन्ग वे, बट अनफॉर्चुनेटली इन दिस सेक्टर वी कुड नॉट change so fast. And I think so now with this 2025 being declared as the year of reforms, and I was just mentioning to you a little while ago, the urgency I'm seeing. 1st Jan, Honorable Raksha Mantri announced 2025. There
is an urgency from the MOD now.
Yes. On 7th, the Subroto Mukherjee, the DefSec and the chairman DRDO making a statement on a rostrum to say that the timelines and luxuries which we had are no more existent. The Air Chief made that statement. Yesterday, Raksha Mantri, addressing the ambassadors in Manekshaw Center, told them that the Indian government is looking for partnership in aerospace and joint ventures.
But sir, can I tell you something? I'm sorry to interrupt you. When the Air Chief said, we have not received 40 aircraft, I was very happy.
Yes.
Because he's the chief, right?
Yes.
And when he makes a statement, and his organization is the end user, sir.
Correct.
And it's important for the chief to say it, and I'm so happy that the chief said it.
And so chief made another statement in this. I don't know, आपने सुना है कि नहीं सुना? He said कि जब हम छोटे थे तो anything which we couldn't do, our teachers and professors and in flying also, वो बोलते थे it's not rocket science.
Sure.
And he said कि भारत ने rocket बना लिया है, but हवाई जहाज नहीं बना. So it's not a rocket science.
Assault rifle भी, sir.
हाँ जी,
assault rifle. We can send a mission to the sun, sir. We can land a rocket at the moon, sir.
हाँ जी.
But assault rifle नहीं बनी, sir. वो है हमारे बड़े internal issues हैं. अच्छा सर, मैं एक बात कहना चाहता हूँ. I want to get down to the specifics because my users ask me, and I keep on telling them I'm not qualified. क्या है कैसा, because I'm not from the Air Force, sir. I don't have any knowledge, but you do, and I want to ask you, sir, what are the options before India? Off the shelf, देखिए सर, हमारी जो स्क्वाड्रन स्ट्रेंथ है सर, अभी तो 31 कह रहे हैं, वो 28 हो जाएगी सर 2-4 साल में. And Tejas, currently there is no point in hoping. I hope it comes up, but if I say the current situation, it is exactly what the Air Chief mentioned, sir. Air Chief Marshal AP Singh has made it plain, कि boss, he's not happy, and the Air Force is not happy. Now, sir, I want to ask you, if we were to get 5th generation fighters, 6th तो बाद में आएगा, 5th generation fighters, और मेरे हिसाब से 2-3 चीजें हो रही हैं. First of all, 1,500 crore rupees, 1,500 crores has been given for AMCA, which is too less. The government should entirely just sanction $1 billion US. $1 billion US is around 8,200, 8,300 crores, sir. ज़्यादा देके बोलो कि you do this. And comes directly under the Air Chief. Whoever is the Air Chief, he is the patron, and the Air Chief is saying, boss, क्या हुआ? Every month I want you guys here, explain it to me in Delhi. वायु भवन में पहुंचो, समझाओ मुझे क्या करा तुम. So that is one part of it, sir. Secondly, sir, I think this Tejas thing, अब जितना हो गया उतना हो गया, money down the drain is money down the drain. If HAL becomes, so my question is in 2-3 parts. If HAL becomes a high-tech, high-level R&D organization under DRDO, which it is already, but forget about manufacturing. So let's just clean out manufacturing. छोड़ देते हैं उसको. Focus on research and development. क्योंकि एयरक्राफ्ट का इंजन बनाना वो पहले डिजाइन करना पड़ेगा ना सर. Somebody has to design it. That is one part. Secondly, which aircraft do we buy? So I have 3 questions, sir. If we have to buy off the shelf 5th generation aircraft, which ones should we buy? Point number 1. Point number 2, do you think HAL should be focused primarily on research and development? And number 3, sir, AMCA का जो मैंने point दिया था about our own 5th generation fighter program. You know,
should we continue?
वो तो करना पड़ेगा सर, continue, because we have to. आत्मनिर्भरता means you have to continue. But I think that this Tejas thing has gone on for too long, sir. And the fact that the chief had to stand up on a rostrum and say this, which tells you the frustration of the Indian Air Force, ki, you know, we are expected, and chief did say in one of his initial lectures when he took over, we'll fight with what we have. Yes. But that is not something that the country should be okay with, sir.
Correct.
You know, he's a soldier, he'll fight with what he has.
Correct.
He's not going to crib say, he's going to say, ठीक है, लड़ाई है, तो लड़ना है देश के लिए, जो भी होगा. But sir, as a nation, हमारी जिम्मेदारी क्या बनती है towards the Indian Air Force? So मेरे 3 सवाल हैं, sir.
See, मेरे हिसाब से the easiest and the best option that call the government and the people in power can take to straight away buy 114 aircrafts, MRFs, which say Rafales, because उसका government to government transfer, जैसे पहले those we have taken 2 squadrons. Similarly, on that we can induct more aircrafts. So that will take care of about about 8 squadrons or so we can buy off the shelf. It will cost a lot of money, but with a caveat that the transfer of technology should take place, like C295. Now, C295, this thing is a wonderful example. What the government has done in this case is that they have bought 16 aircrafts off the shelf from CASA company, which is taken over by Airbus, Spanish company. And they said the rest 40 would be manufactured in India.
Sure.
The Honorable Prime Minister inaugurated just a couple of months ago in October with the Spanish PM this plant in Baroda. The beauty of this project is that 48% is the indigenous component of this C295 when it began in October last year. It is going to go up by 2030 to 78 to 80%. Now, this has been listed in the agreement, and the industry in and around Gujarat, Maharashtra, Andhra, Telangana, and Karnataka, the ecosystem has come up to support C295. Similar this thing, we will not buy off the shelf in the sense they pay the money and take it. No. They will have to set up a similar thing in our country wherein we, our MSMEs, our industry, these big players, HAL, DPSUs, contribute to final rolling out of these aeroplanes. initially could be brought in the knockdown condition and slow with timelines given. The indigenous component has to increase. But the main issue, which I covered earlier also, the airframes, weapons, and this thing, avionics, some parts you can, but say fine things like ejection seat, this thing like engines, we will take time to make. And in this, the research has to go on like we did in space, like we did in nuclear, like we did in missiles. A parallel structure has to be created along with this aircraft production, wherein they understand. Second part is the beauty which I see in the services is with the Navy. Now we have to learn something from the Indian Navy. What Navy has done is designing of submarines, the aircraft carriers, this thing they are doing. So what Navy has its own serving officers embedded with the DRDO people, serving people embedded in designing. So this is something which I feel that our serving people of various branches, the specialists, should be embedded with the young people who are coming out from these IITs or private sector who has them for this R&D.
So
they can tell the exact requirement, because if I make something in a silo and it doesn't, apply to the machine for which I am designing, it is of no purpose.
Sir, I'm sorry to interrupt you. My question was with fifth, you said Rafale, sir. Rafale is either 4 or 4.5, sir.
4.5, yeah.
4.5, sir.
Yes.
Fifth generation कौन सा लेना चाहिए?
See, अभी Aero India है,
Sir.
तो ये सब लोग आएंगे. Su-57s will also come.
Sir.
And the Americans will also. So we could look at these aeroplanes.
Your personal opinion, sir?
I think so, to go with Su-57s.
Why, sir?
It's
तो रशिया भी इतना यूज नहीं कर रहा, सर.
हाँ, नहीं कर रहा इतना. बट ऑफ द शेल्फ अगर आपको खरीदना है इस वक्त विदाउट एनी दिस थिंग, आई थिंक सो वो बेटर रहेगा.
Why, sir?
कंपैटिबिलिटी उसका जो Su-30 से काफ़ी सारी चीज़ें सिमिलर हैं, और उसका जो रशियन एयरक्राफ्ट की मेंटेनेंस जो सपोर्ट सिस्टम है, दैट वुड बी, बिकॉज हमारे पास बारिंग रफाल के 2 स्क्वाड्रन इस टाइम पे जैगुआर बहुत पुराने हो गए हैं. हमारे पास कोई वेस्टर्न फाइटर नहीं है इन एक्टिव सर्विस. मिराजेस केम इन 80s. सो मेन स्टे इज Su-30s. So that is my personal take.
You don't think we should get the F-35, sir?
We could look at it.
Because it's tested and a dozen countries are using it.
We can look at it. I'm not saying we can look at it.
Sir.
Between these two, they'll all be coming now next month for showcasing their products at Bangalore.
Sure.
That is from 10th to 14th of February, the Aero India. But we could look at these 2-3 options. That is
because SU आपने Su-57 की बात करी. It does not even, I believe, it doesn't have one functional squadron also as of now.
Yes.
That's what I believe, sir.
But they exhibited and they're using it in this conflict. They exhibited in Hawaii Air Show also.
Sure.
This thing. So I'm sure Russians are actively involved in conflict for last many years. Starting from Crimea in 2014.
Yes, sir.
And in Syria. So they see a person who is actively involved in conflict. Their industry at peak of Second World War, I was reading somewhere, the Germans were producing 30,000 aircrafts per year. See, necessity is mother of invention. So they had stopped all industries. The company which was manufacturing cars, automobiles, other things, they were manufacturing aeroplanes.
So even in Japan,
yes.
Mitsubishi,
yes.
जो आज washing machine बनाती है, गाड़ियाँ बनाती है, Mitsubishi was making the Zero fighter, sir.
Correct. तो
जो कामेकाजी सुसाइड पायलट्स वो मित्सुबिशी बनाती थी.
तो रशियन जो इंडस्ट्री है इस वक्त
इज
गियर्ड अप बिकॉज 2022 से तो लड़ाई चल रही है उनकी, एंड दे वुड बी इवॉल्विंग इन माय ओपिनियन. They would be evolving.
Chaliye, sir. So Su-57 is one thing which we could talk to Russia, and they'll be happy to set up a manufacturing there. Russia के साथ पुराने रिश्ते हैं, so that should not be a problem if we decide to go ahead now.
But see, 4.5 also will do. What I'm saying is at this stage, even see, because हमारे पास सब चीज सेट है, 2 squadrons already operational हैं. अगर यही और ले लें, मतलब तो हमारे को जो ट्रेनिंग एंड सेटअप का जो पेन है इनिशियली, उससे बच सकते हैं.
So issue ये है कि this decision we should have taken earlier. अब हुआ ये है कि हमने we were the first foreign customers for Rafale, sir. इसके पहले Rafale, apart from the French Air Force, nobody used it, sir. We were the first one. After us, there is a deluge of countries or orders for the Rafale, and now before 7 to 8 years, Rafale can give you nothing, sir.
Correct.
उनकी order book
मैं कह रहा हूँ अभी एक साथ कोई भी देश इतने जहाज नहीं दे पाएगा जो इस टाइम फ्रेम में जो हम मांग।
आपने 8 स्क्वाड्रन बोले ना सर. Let's say tomorrow, the Air Chief said, okay, done. He's spoken to the Raksha Mantri. PM says, good, go ahead. आपने 8 स्क्वाड्रन, वो 8 स्क्वाड्रन सर आज वो देगा 2035 में सर आपको पहली स्क्वाड्रन. His first squadron you might get in 2035-36, a first squadron. और फिर पता नहीं 40 तब तक तो Chinese will start making sub 7th generation, 8th generation fighters. I want to ask you, sir, थोड़ा सा, it's not a political question, but it's a question that hurts me. Therefore, I'm asking you at a level of a citizen, sir. What should we do with the LCA program, sir?
See, we've invested a lot of time, money, energy. We'll have to अब प्लान ये था कि 3 प्रोडक्शन लाइन होंगी एलसीए की, 2 बैंगलोर में और 1 नासिक में. हाँ 3. एंड वी विल प्रोड्यूस एट द रेट ऑफ 8 एयरक्राफ्ट पर प्रोडक्शन लाइन. 24 एयरक्राफ्ट पर ईयर विल स्केल.
स्क्वाड्रन प्लस सर.
हाँ, स्क्वाड्रन प्लस एवरी ईयर विल रोल आउट. तो ये प्लान था. अब वो सारी चीज़ें लाइन सेटअप हैं, सब इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर है, लोग हैं, मशीन्स हैं, सब कुछ है. वी कांट शेल्फ इट, वी कांट शेल्फ. अब एज ए कंट्री विल हैव टू डिसाइड इसको कैसे हम इम्प्रूव कर सकते हैं. तो वन सच सोल्यूशन इज दैट गेट सम players from outside, in the sense who has this capability to use digital manufacturing. आजकल हमारा मैक्सिमम टाइम जा रहा है डिज़ाइन एंड डेवलपमेंट में. डिज़ाइन, डेवलपमेंट एंड प्रोडक्शन, ये 3
हाँ जी.
तो डिज़ाइन के बाद जो डेवलपमेंटल फेज होता है जहाँ डाइज और ये बेसिक्स चीज़ बनती है, दैट इज़ स्टिल वी हैव नॉट रीच दैट लेवल जो बाहर में है. एंड बाहर से एक्सपर्टीज लेने में कोई हर्ज नहीं है. मतलब हम कोशिश करेंगे, हम कर सकते हैं, बट अगर हमारे को डेवलपमेंट के लिए कोई एजेंसी मिल जाए, कोई वी फाइंड समबडी हु कैन हेल्प अस विद दिस थिंग, तो इंटीग्रेट देम विद HCL and use some private sector or some competitors either locally or internationally to help us take that production rate much higher. And government should get the engines by all means what we have contracted. Because as what I was reading, the Americans are citing कि उनकी supply chain में दिक्कत है. मतलब they are willing to give, but उनके यहाँ पे जो vendors हैं उनसे कुछ components नहीं मिल रहे, तो वो भी mix and match करके ही देते हैं. तो उस इंजन में से 10 कंपनीज का सामान लगता होगा, तो उसमें से what they are saying is 1 or 2 companies are not giving us things. That's why we are not able to give. So the aircraft were to be, as per contract, were to be starting in Feb 2025 से, next month the aircraft. But अभी those engines have not come. So those 83 aircrafts which we have contracted with HCL in 2021 were to be delivered from this year.
Sir, painting a scenario where we say that Atmanirbharta is good in the long run, but if we enforce 100% Atmanirbharta now, the squadron center will go down to 25, sir.
That's what Chief was mentioning, that we will have to spend more money. He was saying that we have to pay more money to get what we want till we become Atmanirbhar. So these were his exact words, which are absolutely correct. The country should be willing to pay that extra price to bridge this gap, which I was telling you, that pole vaulting. This gap of pole vaulting has to be done. And it will cost, tough decisions, lots of money, and lot of involvement of stakeholders.
What about the AMCA, sir?
AMCA
अब AMCA के इंजन की प्रॉब्लम होगी,
उसमें 414 चाहिए.
414 चाहिए.
हाँ जी.
वो तो तेजस Mark 2 के लिए भी चाहिए.
हाँ जी. That we can take a call in this, जब हम डिज़ाइन कर रहे हैं या ये बना रहे हैं, अगर the industry feels that they will be able to push AMCA, बिकॉज उससे क्या है कि हमारी जो डिपेंडेंसी है इन क्राइसिस, इन वॉर और इन ए कॉन्फ्लिक्ट सिचुएशन, क्योंकि आप मान के चलिए हाइपोथेटिकली आपके कंपोनेंट्स एक शिप से आ रहे हैं इन ए वॉर, या एक एयरक्राफ्ट से आ रहे हैं, एंड दैट एयरक्राफ्ट गेट शॉट डाउन और द शिप संक, यू आर स्टक. तो यही चीज़ें अगर भारत में कहीं गुजरात में बन रही हो, कहीं महाराष्ट्र में बन रही हो, कहीं आंध्रा में बन रही हो, पैरेलल अमेरिका में ऐसे होता है, वही चीज़ 3-4 कंपनियां बना रही हैं, तो उनमें दे हैव कंपटीशन आल्सो, प्राइसेस आल्सो मेंटेन्ड, एंड देयर इज डिपेंडेंसी नहीं रहती एक किसी के ऊपर।
ब्यूरोक्रेटिक हर्डल्स भी होते हैं सर? होते हैं,
होते हैं, हर जगह होते हैं,
हर जगह
होते हैं।
इट्स लाइक रनिंग इन मड सर।
हाँ,
knee deep mud. You want to run, you
मड नहीं है। आई ऑलवेज गिव एग्जांपल ऑफ रग्बी गेम।
सर,
तो रग्बी की जो बॉल है उसको लेके दूसरी साइड जाना होता है, बट हर कोई आपको खींच रहा है
सर,
बट उसमें से आपको कैसे मैनूवर करके, कैसे उसको करके, सो
यहाँ पे अपनी टीम वाले खींच रहे हैं, नॉट द अदर ऑपोजिट। रग्बी यही फर्क है सर, रग्बी में इज द ऑपोजिट टीम, नॉट योर ओन टीम,
बट यू हैव टू टेक द बॉल द अदर,
यू हैव टू टेक द बॉल सर, कोई भी खींच रहा हो।
दैट इज हाउ आई पुट, मतलब इफ यू हैव टू अचीव समथिंग, दैट इज द एनालॉजी आई ऑलवेज यूज्ड टू गिव, कि इट इज अ गेम ऑफ रग्बी एंड यू हैव टू टेक द बॉल द अदर साइड।
AMCA sir?
AMCA, I think so should continue, my personal opinion.
But you need more funds, sir.
We need more funds. We need hand-holding. No. We need hand-holding. We need the C295 kind of a model wherein those people bring those things in these forms.
So you're saying partnerships?
Partnerships.
You're saying
partnership होनी चाहिए.
So let's say we partner with Sukhoi.
Now we can look at France. We can look at
France doesn't have a future generation, sir.
नहीं, मतलब उनकी aircraft, Sneckmine, all these companies are wonderful. तो Safran, इनसे tie up करके, I'm just giving options on the table.
No, absolutely, sir. In fact, sir, one of the reasons for ISRO, so even HAL has got some very smart people, sir.
Yes.
And हम जितना भी बोले ऑर्डिनेंस फैक्ट्रीज को, they also are very smart people. प्रॉब्लम है कि लोग फंस जाते हैं और फिर माहौल ऐसा बन जाता है, then people don't want to move ahead or something like that. I've in fact been with the ordnance factories. अभी तो they've been divided into 7 independent entities, almost being run like private sector companies. But when they were not, sir, when Ordnance Factory Board, the OFC was there, then I spent about a week, 15 days with them, and I was shooting with them and listening to their stories. And some of the engineers, they were very bright, exceptionally bright, sir. Yes. Similarly with HAL also, sir.
Yes, there are wonderful people in Bangalore.
Yes, sir. What happens, like people say, that one of the success, the reasons for success of ISRO is also, apart from the fact that ISRO has brilliant scientists and brilliant engineers and everything, it reports directly to the Prime Minister.
Yes.
There is nothing in between. The chairman of ISRO reports to the Honorable Prime Minister. So whatever he wants, he picks up the phone and says, "Sir, I want this." PM says, "Okay, done." There is no file movement. There is nothing in between. It's a clean this thing. Do you think that
we'll have to cut the chain?
You have to cut the chain, sir.
Yes.
वही मैं कह रहा था,
we have to reduce the bureaucratic layers in between.
So the chairman DRDO, let us say, because HAL will come under DRDO, sir. Chairman DRDO reports directly to the Prime Minister.
मतलब he could be under RM or somebody, and he could directly have a connection with the PMO, because the strategic decisions which have to be taken on spur of the moment to hasten things up should not be moving in normal manners on files and other things. That is my take. Yes.
Like there is this very deep that I've seen when you talk to anybody from ISRO. There is this sense of urgency. Look, we have to send a manned mission to space. And everybody there at ISRO, sir, they are on this steroid hyper mode.
Yes.
And nothing is stopping ISRO.
Air Force we call it mission mode. So everybody is in a mission mode.
Mission mode. बिल्कुल mission mode.
तो mission mode पे होना चाहिए और हर आदमी पूरे इकोसिस्टम में ओनरशिप लेनी चाहिए. That this is my project, this is my country, this will affect our readiness of our country. My part in this whole story is so. Though that should be known to everybody. In other countries, developed countries, the corporates attend the National Defense College. The corporate people, bright people, are picked up and sent to staff colleges to higher command courses. Because when at that level, colonel level, they have worked with Forge for 1 year, or at brigadier level when they have done NDC together, the corporate people. So one suggestion I have is to pick up bright L&T, Mahindra, Adani, these people, Tatas, and put them for a course with the services. So when you eat, sleep, drink, talk, walk, listen with them, your orientation and you may have 100 questions which in one meeting or in one call you cannot clarify. So there is a merit in having, and for that matter, the government should identify specialists amongst bureaucracy who they channelize that they will hereafter be in space, in missile, in defense, in nuclear, and they should thereafter be earmarked for that vertical and spend time with the professionals. What happens when you grow up, say a director level or a GS level person who has been earmarked to be with Forge. Now thereafter he is only dealing with the uniformed people of that particular, because he's been told that this is the line you will have to take.
Yes, sir.
Or vice versa, the people from services should be deputed onto this side to say that hereafter you will sit in MOD and you will be an interface between the services and the DRDO. And this is the project you have to take over. So one of these models, whatsoever.
Now, sir, referring back to what the chief said, and this is my last question, sir. The chief, 40 years, 40 Tejas, we know that, sir. And of course, I think the main concern for the chief was also depleting squadron strength, sir. Now, we've been told 42 for a very long time, so everybody's been on this figure 42. I want to ask you, and this is my last question of the program, sir. Where did this figure of 42 come in? When did it come in, sir? Number one. And is it relevant today, looking at the collusive threat between China and Pakistan?
See, the assessment is done periodically. And this was assessed. But when it was assessed 42, we had aircrafts which were mainly MiG-21s, MiG-23s. But today, the capability of a Rafale or a Su-30 is at least 3 to 4 times of these conventional aeroplanes. So though the squadron strength has reduced, but the lifting capability or the ability to deliver on target has not depleted as much as what we are saying. Now, coming to a question of 42 is a figure which is the sanctioned approval by the government. The government approves. The figure of increasing the squadrons is already been worked on and has been lying with the government to enhance this figure, considering the threat which has especially come up in...
How much, sir?
That I'll not be able to put a figure at this stage.
Sure. Okay, sir. And I understand, because then you would be quoted that, he has said this and this, but I was speaking, let me quote, sir, what I've learned from a lot of very senior Air Force veterans, and all of them put the figure conservatively above 55 at least, 52 to 55, and they're saying that. But that is their view, sir, and we respect everybody's views.
Correct.
Thank you very much, sir. It was wonderful talking to you, and I learned so much. That is the beauty of this podcast. You have all these senior military officers coming, and then they speak to you and you listen and you ask them questions. Where will I get this opportunity, sir?
This thing is that more and more young people seeing your podcast should see that this is an opportunity for us.
Sir.
My whole purpose today of speaking to you is that if some young boys and girls are listening to this podcast, they should feel that this is an area where there's an opportunity to get into some research, to get into some defense company, to get into some of these verticals where they can make a career out of this.
Thank you very much for talking to us, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, with Air Marshal Sanjeev Kapoor, we spoke about what the Air Chief said. And the Air Chief showed concern. He said that 40 years, not even 40 Tejas aircraft, where are we going? And the depleting squadron strength of the Indian Air Force. I don't think there is any seminar or any conclave on defense where this is not discussed. And people don't worry about this. I hope you enjoyed this podcast. And if you did, let us know in the comments. We'll be back again next week with another special guest. Till then, Jai Hind. Jai Hind, sir, and thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. Gaurav.